So, get this. 7 years into being with Lisa, I find out she's got this one that got away. A guy she's been hung up on forever. And of course, the day I get diagnosed with freaking stomach cancer, this lost love waltzes back into the country. I'm at the hospital, alone, getting chemo, and who do I see strolling out of the OB/GYN department? Lisa and that guy. That's when I decided, screw this, I'm getting a divorce. I'm setting her free. But then she's all teary-eyed, saying she'll get rid of the baby and come back home. But I was just done. And honestly, a little grossed out. This morning I'm cleaning up and bam! This insane pain hits my stomach. Like doubled over, sweating buckets pain. I try to get Lisa, my wife, to help, but she just hands me a cup of hot water. Tells me she's going shopping with her friends, and bounces. She looked amazing, by the way. All dolled up, tight dress, eyes sparkling. Happier than I'd seen her in, well, ever. I couldn't bring myself to ruin her mood, and she totally missed how bad I was. Soft click of the door closing, and I'm on the floor, clutching the table. Then, my stomach goes nuts, and I'm tasting blood. The white and gray tiles? Not so white and gray anymore. I managed to dial 911. That's all I can do. At the hospital, they run a bunch of tests, and the doctor drops the bomb. Late-stage stomach cancer. Says I need treatment ASAP, maybe it'll buy me some time. Otherwise, a few months. I'm sitting in the hallway, holding this diagnosis, feeling completely hollow. I want to call Lisa. I just need to hear her voice. But the line's busy. Just that annoying beeping. I text her on WeChat, asking what she's up to. Nothing. I feel like the world has just abandoned me. I'm leaning against this cold hospital wall, all alone. My phone buzzes, and for a second, I have hope. But it's just a coworker sending me a video. The video? It's from the airport. A guy and a girl hugging like there's no tomorrow. A banner shows it's Alex, some hotshot pianist back from overseas. And the girl? My wife, Lisa. I stare at the guy's face, and it all clicks. This morning I was cleaning the study and found a photo in a book. It was Alex. On the back, in Lisa's writing, my unforgettable first love. I couldn't mistake her handwriting. But before I could even ask her about it, this whole cancer thing happened. My coworker sends a voice message, sounding worried. Dude, is that your wife? Don't freak out, just talk to her. If it's a misunderstanding, I don't want to be the bad guy. I'm your bro. I had to tell you. I'd feel guilty if I didn't. I thank him, tell him I'll handle it, and that he doesn't need to worry. But inside, I'm sinking. Lisa finally calls back, sounding all bubbly. Hey babe, what's up? I was at a movie, didn't see your message. In the background, I can hear piano music. Soft, mellow piano music. I really want to ask if Alex is the one playing. Nothing. Just wondering who you were with. I had the day off, thought we could hang out. She hesitates, stumbles over her words. Who else? Just Rachel? It's just us girls, so you probably wouldn't want to come. Maybe another time. I just say, and hang up. I don't want to be the suspicious husband, but that video, that photo, it's eating me up. I find Rachel's name in my WeChat contacts and message her. Hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. Want to help me pick out a gift for Lisa? Why don't you just ask Lisa, or I can teach you how to subtly find out what she wants. Lisa is sleeping now. She's been a little off color. I didn't want to wake her. After sending that, my hands are shaking. I'm hoping, praying she'll say, yeah, Lisa's with me, we're shopping. But nope. I really envy Lisa. I've been so busy with work trips these past few days. I won't be back for over a month. I'll visit her when I return. I don't even know how to respond. My head's a mess, she lied. But deep down there's this tiny, pathetic hope that she'll explain. That I'm wrong about all of this. Lisa and I met 7 years ago during a brutal summer. My career was just starting, and I got the news that my mom died. My parents split early, and Mom raised me alone. That was the darkest time of my life. I'm sitting on a park bench with a coffee, surrounded by people, but feeling totally alone. Lisa was handing out flyers. She saw I was down and came over to chat. She was like this little ball of sunshine, trying to cheer me up. She told me she was an orphan, too, never knew her parents. She had an older brother, her only family, but he'd gone overseas. Two lonely people, finding comfort in each other. My heart started to warm up. After that, I kept going to see her and, well, I fell in love. Confession, proposal, marriage. She said yes so fast, it felt like I'd found my soulmate. But now, looking back, I'm thinking maybe Alex is that brother she talked about. Not a brother, but her obsession. Her first love. The guy she really wanted to be with. A bitter ache builds up, and this sharp pain flares in my stomach. I rush to the bathroom, throwing up. Blood mixes with the water in the white sink. I look at myself in the mirror, all messed up, and just feel despair. In the end, I'm alone. I pick up my meds, go home, and clean up the mess on the floor. It's 8 p.m. and Lisa's still not home. I'm worried, so I call her. Ethan, Rachel just broke up with her boyfriend, and she's a mess. I'm going to stay with her for a few days. Take care of yourself. There was a slight pant in her voice. When I asked her why, she said they had just been doing some cardio exercises. Seriously? Rachel's on a business trip. What the hell is Lisa really doing? I don't even want to think about it. And this time she called me by my name. Since we got married, she'd always call me babe, like she was trying to reassure me. Never by my name. Was she hiding something today? I thought Rachel was still on her business trip. I didn't realize she was back. Oh, she just got home after the trip. That's when the breakup happened. All right, you take care of yourself, too. The pain, mixed with bitterness, spread. My stomach cramps up. I swallow a handful of pills, curl up on the bed, trying to get some relief. But the darkness, the loneliness, it's suffocating. My veins are popping out, and again I'm completely alone. I don't sleep all night. I'm thinking a lot. Quit my job, start treatment, confront Lisa. I can't keep living like this, with all this suspicion. I get to the office, and everyone's talking about this pianist who just came back to the country, planning a concert at the end of the month. Alex's name pops up, and I realize how famous he is. Mr. Thompson, are you taking your wife to the concert? I remember she loves piano music. I choke. I'll look into it. I still need to ask her. A young female colleague sighs. Mr. Thompson and his wife have such a good relationship. I also heard that Alex stayed abroad for 7 years and has now returned, bravely pursuing love. They say that on the day he returned, someone saw him passionately embracing his lover. Oh, I'm so envious. When will I have a boyfriend like that? Or even someone like Mr. Thompson? The coworker who sent me the video, Kevin, seems to sense something's up and looks at me. Seeing my face, he quickly gives the girl some work, changing the subject. Boss, your wife would never cheat on you. You have to stay strong. We all need you to lead us. He whispers, trying to comfort me. I might need to take some time off. You'll have to lead the team. Kevin gives me a solid pat on the shoulder, his easygoing attitude making him the one I trusted the most. Boss, don't talk like that, making it sound like you won't come back. I know you have important things to take care of at home. We'll be waiting for your return. I want to say something, but I just nod. I ask the higher-ups to keep my resignation a secret, or only tell them after I was gone. I check myself into the hospital, alone. The doctor seems surprised. Young man, aren't you married? How can you do this alone? You need someone to take care of you. It's fine. I'll just hire a nurse in a little while. First day in the hospital, I contact Lisa, tell her I'm sick cancer. She laughs, says I'm joking. Lisa, you've been gone for a week. When are you coming home? Can't you, as a grown man, stop being so caught up in love all the time? I want to have my own life, too. But I really don't have much time left. I have cancer. Can you stop using that as a reason to threaten me? Who would believe that? The call ends abruptly. She's a little pissed. The chemo is brutal, my hair's falling out, I'm throwing up blood. I'm surviving on IV drips, can't eat anything. For a whole week, Lisa doesn't call. I'm so messed up from the cancer, I barely care. I'm bored, flipping through the calendar and realize it's Valentine's Day. No need for Rachel's help. I'd already gotten a gift. It's on the nightstand in our room. But she never saw it. I can't resist calling her. Just wanting to hear her voice. Lisa, it's Valentine's Day. I took the day off. Are you still at Rachel's? I can come over? Lisa's voice is hurried, impatient. There's noise in the background, probably some amusement park. Ethan, Rachel's feeling down. How could we flaunt our love in front of her? That would just rub salt in her wounds. It's just another Valentine's. We can celebrate it next year. She hangs up fast, and all I hear is beeping. How could it be the same? I might not be here next year. These days of treatment changed my routine, because I never knew when I'd get sick. The pain tormented me so much that I couldn't sleep through the night. If I hadn't suddenly remembered to check my phone, I wouldn't even know what day it was. It's already the end of the month. I remember that young girl mentioning that Alex would be holding a concert at the end of the month. I grab my phone, something I haven't done in a while, and start scrolling through entertainment news. Around 3 p.m., just after finishing chemo, I see a trending topic shoot to the top on Weibo. The hashtag #AlexWinsHisLoveHash is blazing bright. I click on it. It's a video shot by the media with some news report. In the video, Alex is on one knee offering Lisa a bouquet of white roses. Lisa, overjoyed and crying, throws herself into his arms. True love. Who could have guessed the woman in the video was married and her husband was fighting for his life? Lisa calls me, trying to explain. Ethan, he's the brother I told you about. Everything online is just the media making things up. They misunderstood. I don't even want to think about it. I mean, I'm dying. All right, Lisa, I believe you. So when are you coming home? For a moment, neither of us says anything. Maybe my voice was too weak, and Lisa could sense something. Or maybe she was wondering why I was so willing to believe her. In the end, I don't know who touched the screen, but the silent call was disconnected. At that moment, I thought there was nothing left that I couldn't accept. But fate loves to mess with you, and it made me run into Lisa at the hospital. Summer's over. They say September is golden autumn. I'd been cooped up in the hospital room for too long, so I asked the nurse to accompany me outside for some fresh air. The greenery around the hospital was nice, and a few white doves flew across the square. Feeling a bit of a chill, I decided it was better to head back to my room. As I turned to leave, a few whispered words carried by the wind stopped me in my tracks. I heard that Alex, who's been all the rage lately, has a girlfriend who's pregnant. Someone just saw them entering the obstetrics and gynecology department. I felt unsteady on my feet, and even the nurse beside me heard it and couldn't resist making a joke. That guy sure moves fast. It's only been half a month since the end of August, and his wife is already pregnant. Obviously, they were together before he even returned to the country, putting on a show for everyone. How fake. I wasn't sure if it was anger or something else, but a wave of nausea hit me. Sir, are you all right? Please help me to the obstetrics department. I want to see something. Didn't expect you to be so curious, sir. I didn't respond, and we walked in silence the rest of the way. From a distance, I saw a familiar figure. My wife's figure. One I would never mistake. At that moment, Alex was crouching beside Lisa, his head pressed gently against her stomach. The two of them exchanged smiles, and the air was thick with the sickly sweet scent of love. That stench of love made me feel nauseated. Since Lisa and I got married, She had always been reluctant about our intimate moments and even insisted on living a child-free life. I thought she was afraid of the pain, and I was willing to respect her wishes. But it turns out she just didn't want to be with me. She just didn't want to have a child with me. My stomach started to cramp, and I bent over, gasping for breath. "Sir, are you okay, sir?" The nurse's voice was loud, drawing the attention of everyone around us, including Lisa. Her expression was one of shock, as if she couldn't understand why I was here. The nurse helped me to the nearest bench, and I asked him to bring Lisa over. I wanted to go to her myself, but that place was for welcoming new life. They were the future of this world. They shouldn't have to see someone as useless as me or hear about such filthy things. I leaned back against the cold wall, watching Lisa gently caress her abdomen as she slowly walked towards me. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" "You mean the gentleman? He's in the late stages of stomach cancer." The nurse, a young man who spoke bluntly, assumed Lisa was Alex's girlfriend and didn't think she had any connection to me. "Ethan, what's going on?" Lisa's voice was hoarse, tinged with a bit of a sob. "What's going on?" I wasn't entirely sure myself. After we got married, Lisa stopped handing out flyers at the park entrance and said she wanted to be a stay-at-home wife. Even so, I never made her do any housework, turning her into a girl who had never lifted a finger. I wanted her to live a good life, so I worked hard, drinking and socializing endlessly. She loved luxury goods, and when she bought them, she never batted an eye. I climbed from an employee to the position of vice president, and my body gradually began to break down. But I knew it wasn't her fault. I would have worked hard even without her. I was just a bit sad, feeling it wasn't worth it. If she didn't like me, why did she accept my proposal in the first place? And if she accepted, why couldn't she be faithful to our marriage? Why choose to cheat? "I told you before, I have stomach cancer. I'm going to die soon." The doctor advised me to stay calm and avoid any strong emotional fluctuations. Maybe I was truly overwhelmed because the pain in my stomach twisted violently, and my teeth bit down so hard that they broke the skin of my lips. Finally, amidst Lisa's desperate calls, I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in my hospital room. Instinctively, I wanted to ask the nurse for a glass of water, but I noticed that the person sitting beside me was Lisa. It had been over a month since we last saw each other, and seeing her now felt like a lifetime had passed. She held a cup of water and offered it to me, but I couldn't sit up to drink it. The nurse quickly arrived and placed a straw in the cup. Lisa looked a bit embarrassed. No surprise, as she had never taken care of anyone before. "Honey, I'm sorry. It's all my fault." I shook my head, not understanding why she suddenly switched back to calling me honey, but I didn't want to hear it anymore. "Lisa, let's get a divorce. From now on, just call me by my name." Lisa's eyes filled with tears, and she began to sob softly, shaking her head repeatedly. "No, I don't want a divorce. Let's not divorce, please." I couldn't understand what she was holding on to. Wasn't her beloved, unforgettable first love already back? Why wouldn't she let me go? "Lisa, you're pregnant, aren't you? Whose child is it?" I looked at her sharply, staring intently at Lisa's face as her eyes darted around. "It's Alex's, isn't it? Rachel has been on a business trip this month. What breakup were you supposedly comforting her for?" I was getting emotional, yelling to vent the grievances and dissatisfaction that had been festering inside me. "Lisa, I saw that photo in the study. He's your unforgettable first love, the one you've been waiting for. I don't care that you deceived me. Now that he's back and you're carrying his child, why can't you just let me go?" My heart raced, making my stomach churn with waves of nausea. Lisa covered her face with both hands, and large teardrops slipped through her fingers. But my sharp eyes noticed the blisters on her hands, marks left by splattering oil while cooking. My heart grew colder. I had never let her into the kitchen in our 7 years together. She had never cooked a meal for me. The girl I had loved and spoiled had turned around and cooked for someone else. In the end, I wasn't worth it. Honey, I really never thought about divorcing you. Lisa kept repeating that sentence, but to my ears, it was like nails on a chalkboard. I couldn't help but roar like a madman, pounding my fists against the bed frame. She doesn't want a divorce, so what does she want? To have her cake and eat it too? A husband who takes care of her every need on one side, and her unforgettable first love to keep her happy on the other. How bold she must be to say such things. At that moment, Alex burst in, cradling the sobbing Lisa in his arms, his eyes filled with hostility as he looked at me. John, right? Do you know that Lisa is pregnant and can't have any emotional stress? Are you deliberately trying to make her suffer? I couldn't comprehend how Alex could say such things with such self-righteousness. Lisa is my wife, and she's carrying your child. Now I'm dying. Who's asking if I'm okay? Alex, as long as I'm alive, you will always be the third wheel. Even though I was determined to divorce, I couldn't resist a sharp retort. Seeing the growing anger on his face brought a small measure of satisfaction to my otherwise miserable state. Lisa nestled into Alex's arms, burying her head in his chest. They really were a well-matched couple. Lisa will divorce you soon. Alex left those words hanging in the air, and I genuinely hoped she would divorce me right away. But I had a feeling that with someone like her, I wouldn't be rid of her even in death. After the two of them left, the room fell silent. The nurse looked at me, clearly shocked. Sir, I never imagined that someone who looks so decent could act so despicably. What a pair of scoundrels. His words, spoken in defense of me, brought a slight warmth to my heart, knowing there was at least one person on my side. Something unexpected happened. The incident that occurred at the hospital was recorded by someone and uploaded to the internet. It quickly became a hot topic, sparking widespread discussion. Alex was labeled as the home wrecker, and his relationship with Lisa was dragged through the mud. The comment section was filled with insults, calling them scumbag and cheating couple, with people cursing them with the harshest words. People at the company also saw the video, and soon learned about my stomach cancer. They stood up for me, using their social media accounts to voice their support. I'm one of John's subordinates. Our boss works himself to the bone, drinking and socializing, and ended up with stomach cancer just to earn money to support Lisa. Her cheating is just inhumane. Mr. Thompson is diligent and truly loves his wife. It's hard to believe that such a good person could be betrayed like this. Mr. Thompson even prepared a Valentine's Day gift for Lisa the other day. Lisa truly has no heart. As I read through these comments, I didn't know whether to feel sad or happy. I was, of course, glad that they spoke up for me. But their words hit right where it hurt, making it clear to the whole world that I was nothing more than a simp. Yet the final outcome was favorable. Alex and Lisa, once the envy of everyone as a legendary couple, had now become the targets of public scorn. Some even created a timeline documenting their affair, gathering evidence of their infidelity. I didn't have the energy to do any of that, nor did I want to be involved. Alex was the first to approach me, hoping I would help clear his name by claiming that I had already divorced Lisa. He truly was shameless, stealing my wife and then expecting me to willingly take the fall as the ex-husband. What a dream. I do want to get divorced. Why don't you get Lisa to agree already? You pestering me won't help. You're not the one divorcing me. I lay in my hospital bed, feeling more at ease than I had in a long time. Alex's expression was off. It seemed he and Lisa were already having issues. He wanted to say more, even resorting to trying to intimidate me. But before he could make a move, My colleagues, who had come to visit, stepped in and stopped him. They were all holding back their anger. Over the years, they had witnessed how I treated Lisa. Now, not only did I have stomach cancer, but I had also been cheated on. They were on my side and couldn't swallow this injustice either. There were quite a few of them, and what was once a spacious hospital room now felt crowded. A few of the younger, more hot-headed ones couldn't hold back and threw a few punches at Alex, teaching him a lesson. Alex had no choice but to leave in disgrace. The news of my resignation couldn't be kept from them after all, and that young, sentimental girl was now crying her eyes out. As a patient, I found myself constantly comforting them. It might sound odd, but I was enjoying myself. They made me feel like I had a family. The situation online escalated quickly, and many media outlets, along with independent journalists, soon found out which hospital I was staying at. They rushed in, eager to get a scoop, but I was too weak to drive them away. Mr. Thompson, when did you first discover that Lisa was cheating? Mr. Thompson, what are your thoughts on Alex? Mr. Thompson, how do you plan to punish the two of them? Their barrage of questions made my head spin, worsening my already exhausted state. These people were so desperate for headlines that they stooped to harassing a terminally ill cancer patient. At that moment, a faint female voice came from behind the crowd. It was Lisa. The moment they noticed her, all the cameras swung around, cornering Lisa. I watched as her pale face grew weaker, almost fainting. Surrounded by flashing lights, she could only cling helplessly to the wall. Thankfully, the nurse arrived in time, and the security guards escorted everyone out. I never imagined that Lisa would become so ruthless, but not toward me, toward the child in her womb. When she appeared before me again, her abdomen was flat, and her face was haggard. "Honey, I've aborted the child. Can we not divorce?" Her weak face managed a faint smile, with a fragile beauty about it. But I couldn't understand. Wasn't this the child she had longed for over 7 years? Why would she abort it? "Lisa, it's no use. We should divorce." "Honey, I didn't mean to deceive you. I was afraid you'd misunderstand." That day when Alex returned, I was really happy. I had a bit too much to drink, and we ended up sleeping together. I was blinded by my childhood love, but when I found out you were sick, I couldn't stop imagining the pain of losing you. That pain was unbearable. I realized I had already fallen in love with you, but I didn't know it. Lisa spoke passionately, placing all the blame on a drunken mistake, on love that she didn't realize she had. But if the first time was a mistake, what about the entire following month? If she hadn't discovered that I was terminally ill, would she have never realized she loved me? How hypocritical. I said all of this to Lisa, leaving her speechless, stuttering as she tried to argue but couldn't find the words. "Honey, I went home yesterday, and I saw the Valentine's Day gift you left for me on the nightstand. You still love me." So, she saw the gift. Maybe I did love you then, but I don't anymore. Lisa's eyes gradually dimmed, but no matter what I said, she was still determined not to divorce me. "Lisa, I don't want to see you." The love I had for her had long been worn away by her lies and betrayals, leaving nothing behind. She shook her head desperately, trying to throw herself into my arms as she used to. But I coldly dodged her advance. I wanted to send her away, but she insisted on staying to take care of me. This only made me more irritated. She had never taken care of anyone, and she had just had an abortion, leaving her body weak. What was she trying to prove by staying here? Outside, the leaves were already turning yellow, scattered by the autumn wind, drifting everywhere. Just like me, lonely and broken, with my body in pieces. This was no longer the height of summer. It was no longer the summer that lived in my heart. The nurse was openly hostile toward Lisa, often going out of his way to make things difficult for her. But Lisa endured it all, which surprised me. I was also puzzled that she had been here for 3 days, and yet Alex hadn't come looking for her. As they say, a woman's heart is as unpredictable as the depths of the ocean. On the 5th day, Alex hobbled into my hospital room, wearing a patient's gown and walking with a limp. I was surprised to see him. When he saw Lisa diligently attending to me, his anger flared up. He grabbed Lisa by the collar, ready to start a fight in the hospital room, but the nurse quickly intervened to stop him. "Lisa, you have no heart. You took advantage of me being drunk, tied me up, and if it weren't for a paparazzo sneaking in this morning and finding me, I would have starved to death at home." This was a lot to take in. I observed Lisa's expression and noticed a trace of resentment. "Why didn't I just let you starve to death? My husband is here fighting cancer, and you don't deserve to have it easy." Alex's eyes were filled with disbelief. His eyes reddened, and he punched the wall of the hospital in frustration, venting his anger. "What did you just say? I went abroad for 7 years for you, enduring endless scorn, finally succeeding, and this is how you repay me?" Lisa, unable to control her emotions, pushed Alex hard, looking almost deranged. "You did that for yourself! I begged you back then, begged you to take me with you, but you said I was a burden." "Now 7 years have passed. I've been married and fallen in love with my husband. Why have you come back to disturb my life?" I couldn't listen to this any longer. These two were just passing the blame back and forth, never recognizing their own mistakes. Maybe it's true that I don't love her anymore because my heart didn't even flinch. But I couldn't stay here any longer. The chemotherapy was already painful enough, and with them disturbing me, it made me feel like I couldn't even die in peace. When Alex found out that Lisa had aborted the child, he immediately became despondent, collapsing onto the floor. Perhaps that had been his last hope, now completely shattered. Lisa, one hand on the table and the other on her abdomen, suddenly started laughing. She laughed until tears streamed down her face, her eyes filled with a twisted sense of satisfaction. They were both mad. The noise grew so loud that a nurse came to check and scolded them, bringing the farce to an end. But for me, it was time to leave. I asked the nurse to process my discharge papers, and while Lisa was out buying food, I quickly left the hospital. The nurse told me I shouldn't do this, but it didn't matter anymore. I didn't want to continue the treatment. I figured I'd spend the time I had left exploring the beautiful landscapes of my country. The nurse, who was a fresh graduate, agreed to come with me when I asked if he wanted to join. And so the two of us set off on a journey. We made it to the capital just in time for the National Day flag-raising ceremony, which filled me with pride. I originally planned to climb a mountain to see the red leaves, but my body couldn't handle it, so I just rested at the foot of the mountain. We then headed to the seaside, where the sight of the deep blue ocean gradually brought peace to my mind. Next, we went south, where we marveled at the grandeur of the mountains and lakes. In the old town, we rented a small inn to stay in, but my health was rapidly declining, forcing me to stop and rest. One evening, I received a call from a colleague. When I answered, I was surprised to hear Lisa's voice on the other end. "Honey, we're not going to get divorced, right?" I didn't respond because none of this mattered to me anymore. I had no intention of continuing this entanglement. After all, I was going to die soon. "Honey, I'll give you an explanation." With that, she hung up. It wasn't until the next day when the nurse rushed in, panic in his voice, showing me his phone with the news. Only then did I understand what Lisa meant by an explanation. Alex was dead. The news reported that the renowned pianist Alex was found dead in his villa, apparently due to a gas leak that caused an explosion. By the time his body was discovered, it was burned beyond recognition, his face completely disfigured. It's easy to imagine the immense pain he must have endured before he died. Soon after, another piece of news shot to the top of the trending list. Lisa had jumped to her death from the hospital rooftop. I was unexpectedly calm. only mildly surprised. I didn't expect them to die before I did. This was merely the consequence of their own actions. My colleagues at the company called me one after another, especially the colleague who had lent Lisa his phone that day. He felt guilty, thinking he shouldn't have given Lisa his phone. I reassured him that it was okay, that they brought this upon themselves. However, Kevin was indignant, saying several times, "They deserved it," which made me chuckle a little. They wanted to come see me, but I was already at the end of my rope. Their visit would only add to the sorrow. I didn't want to endure any more goodbyes. 7 summers ago, my mother passed away, also from stomach cancer. Perhaps I should have seen my own fate coming. I gave a portion of my savings to the nurse. It was his payment for accompanying me through the final stretch of my life. After all these years of saving, I realized that the amount was quite substantial. The rest, along with my other assets, I donated to charity. I hope they can use the money to save others like me who are tormented by illness. Finally, on a quiet night, I saw my mother's silhouette. She told me I had suffered enough. I suddenly remembered that I should have left a large sum of money for the owner of the inn. I was probably going to die here, and my death would leave a trace of misfortune on his property. After settling everything, I lay quietly on the bed, gazing at the bright moon in the sky, and then I closed my eyes forever.